Seashells, incredibly strong, amazing ceramics. The abalone makes a ceramic that is 3 to 5 times stronger than our best ceramics. All right, so the very best ceramics that we can make are heated to 3,000 to 5,000 degrees under incredible pressures for 24 to 48 hours. Can you imagine what your energy bill would be if you were doing that in your oven at home? And the abalone's is 3 to 5 times stronger. It's done at about 1 degree Celsius using abundant free-floating materials in the ocean. Right? So how can we do that? And there's labs all over the country, all over the world, that are racing and have come up with some amazing technology. So the one in the middle is actually nacre. The one on the left is a mimic, and the one on the right is a mimic that's actually stopped a bullet. So Berkeley, Kotov Laboratory in Michigan, and UCSD have done a lot of progress. It's basically a composite of hard and soft that are sandwiched together that creates this incredible strength, and they're all doing it without the use of heat, beat, and treat. How about adhesion? Petroleum goes into a lot of our glues, hence the whole sick building syndrome. A lot of it has come from the glues that we use. Blue mussels, you may have had them on your dinner plate sometime in the last month. Turns out blue mussels can make a glue that cures underwater, something that all 7 billion of us have never figured out how to do. But it's an incredibly waterproof and water-curing glue. A company called Columbia Forest Products has developed this into Pure Bond, and they have replaced the formaldehyde-based urea glues in sheet goods, plywood, particle board, etc., and replaced them with this mussel-based glue. Now, they didn't harvest the mussel, they borrowed the recipe, and they manufactured it out of waste soy products and added some, basically a protein and an amino acid group, which was the secret recipe from the mussel, and have come up with this completely novel and no VOC glue. That middle picture is the close-up of a beetle leg. And beetles and geckos and other critters can actually stick to things with incredible strength without the use of little hooks and claws or chemistry, but they use what are called intramolecular forces. And the magic to be able to have, we talked about wanting to recycle. Well, one of the biggest challenges of recycling is taking things back apart. Right? We put disparate materials together, we have to take them back apart. We can't do it because we've glued them together permanently. If we could mimic geckos and insects, and that's exactly what's happening. There's a product out there called insect tape, or not a product, but it's in the lab, and the people who track this world guess that within 3 years we'll have commercially viable gecko and insect tape. Peel it off, reuse it again, peel it off, reuse it again. Doesn't get dirty, doesn't get particles on it, but it's strong enough to hold an 8-year-old child from the ceiling. I have not tried that with my 8-year-old, but... And on the right is the Sandcastle worm. It glues together little particles of sand. And at the University of Utah, they've uncovered the magic of that glue. And right now, they're looking at it for bone repair in biomedical applications. But one of the things that helps with the longevity of things is our ability to repair them in ways. So what would it mean to learn from this Sandcastle worm? The last one I want to share with you is let's do recycling, but let's do it in a systemic way. Nature doesn't turn trees back into trees, right? Very few of those molecules that were in those leaves end up back as leaves again. It's much larger, and it's part of a much bigger system. There's a lot of places where this is starting to happen. Industrial eco-parks are heading this direction. This is an eco-park in Austria, which only manufactures green materials and green products and green services, but yet the industrial connections, the waste from one company is the raw material for the next. We heard about Interface this morning, looking at all sorts of sources for its plastic and its fibers. It's not just carpets back into carpets, it's recognizing a much broader system of recycling. And Invista is looking at lots of different ways to deal with nylon 6,6 that aren't just about making its car parts, small car parts, but all sorts of potential avenues for that larger network. That's more of the way nature recycles. So really what this is ultimately about is learning to fit in again. We did at one time, and this is our opportunity. The time is now to learn to fit in. We can design from nature, looking to nature as a model, but we can also design with nature. Nature is measure. It's about asking the question, what would nature do, but also asking the question, what wouldn't nature do? Would she necessarily create this thing? Do we need this stuff? Does this really serve us? And designing for nature. Looking at the natural world as not somebody from or some place, something from which we can take, but rather thinking of her as a mentor from which we can learn, and then all sorts of things follow in the way we approach and live in concert with that natural world. It is about creating conditions conducive to life. If you're interested and you want to learn more, we have two organizations, the Biomimicry Guild, which is a consulting firm that works with companies across all industries, and the Biomimicry Institute, which focuses on education and conservation. We actually require our clients to participate in a program we call Innovation for Conservation. If you come up with a great idea, shouldn't you actually pay royalties to the organism who thought it up long before we did? Right? Let's protect the gecko's habitat if you're going to make gecko tape. It is the next generation that really will inherit a world without oil. How does that look for them? They'll need to know where to find the solutions of how to live on this planet. And here is where it begins, outside, right? It doesn't have to look that bleak, and it doesn't have to look bleak for us either. It's incredibly beautiful and sexy. I've heard that's important to you guys. So it starts by going outside. We all need some oxygen right now, but you need oxygen every day. You need to get off of a man-made surface every once in a while and walk that irregular terrain. And when you're out there, you need to slow down and breathe. And then once you've breathed and slowed down, then you can listen. You can listen to that amazing wisdom and genius is out there. And then, and only then, can you begin to echo back what you've learned.